Hi, and welcome back to English Lessons with Stephanie. This is speaking lesson number 2. In today's lesson, we will again work on fluency practice. First, we'll start with setting goals, and we will work on using the present tense, which is the grammar lesson that we learned this week. We'll use the present simple tense to describe routines, things, and conditions and results. Remember, we've got some speaking tips, so it really helps a lot to relax. Pretend you're speaking to a friend, and if it helps, you can pick up a phone and pretend to talk on the phone. Maybe get a drink or a cup of coffee if that will help you to relax. And when you pause, maybe smile a little if that will help you to relax, or even laugh. Secondly, volume is important, so speak as loudly as you would normally. When we're talking to ourselves, we tend to speak a little more quietly, but we want to create good habits. No one will understand you if they can't hear you. Finally, remember that it's okay to make mistakes. Even native English speakers don't speak with perfect grammar. And our goal here is to improve, not to speak perfectly. Okay, so setting goals. What do you hope to improve? Ask yourself this question because everyone, even me, can improve their speaking skills. Do you want to work on your fluency? Are you trying to speak more smoothly with fewer pauses? Maybe you want to work on your accuracy. That would mean making fewer mistakes when speaking. You can also work on variety, using more vocabulary, some of the vocabulary you learned this week, using different sentence structures. And we can work on mastery, adding idioms to your speech, working on pronunciation, etc. Okay, so first we're going to start with describing our routines. So remember that this is the present simple tense that we learned this week. And it uses the base form of the verb except for the she, he, or it form, where we have to add an s or an es to the end for all regular verbs. So we're going to use the present simple tense to describe routines. So just like in the reading we had this week, we're going to talk about what we do on a typical morning. What is a typical morning like for you? And you can start by answering using the following sentence structures. In the mornings, I do this. Every morning, I do this. Each day, I do this. You can use times like at 7 o'clock, I do this, or at 8 o'clock, I do this. And just remember, because we're talking about something that we do every day, we should use the present simple tense. So you try it. Let's talk. Pause the video and answer this question. Try to give as much detail as possible. Talk about your whole morning, and if you want to, continue to talk about your entire day. Talk about your afternoon, and then describe what you do in the evenings. Let's do another one. This week we learned the word chores. Do you remember what chores means? That's right. Chores means housework, typically, or things that you have to do repeatedly. So for this question, I'm going to ask you what chores you do regularly. And how often do you do them? So for example, I said, I like to vacuum a little bit every day. Well, I don't like to vacuum a little bit every day, but I kind of have to because I have 2 dogs. So you can tell us what chores you do regularly. What do you do every day? What do you do every week or every month? And of course, because this is something we do regularly, you're going to continue to use the present simple tense. So let's talk. Pause the video and describe for me what kind of chores you do regularly and how often you do them. Next, we will describe things. Just to practice, why don't you talk about what your city or town is like? Because we're describing a condition of something, what something's natural state is or a fact, we can use the present simple tense. So for example, I can tell you that my town is medium-sized, or my town has about 5,000 people in it. I don't actually know. And I can tell you that my town has really good weather, and there are lots of trees here, And the houses here are pretty big, and people are pretty friendly. It is a nice place to live. So let's talk. You try it. Describe your city or your town. Tell me about the weather. Tell me about the people. Tell me about anything you want that happens in your town. Next, we're going to continue to describe things, but instead of things, we'll describe people. So tell me what your best friend is like. Use the present simple tense and tell me as many facts or things about your friend that you can share. Try to use as much detail as possible. Maybe you can even talk for a whole minute. Now let's use the present simple tense to describe conditions and results. So remember, in our grammar class this week, you learned that when we describe a condition, like if or when, we will use the present simple tense. So let's answer this question. When you need a break, what do you do? So the condition part is the when. So when I need a break or when I am tired, when I work too long, comma, I do this. So because we're describing conditions and then typical results, we'll use the present simple tense for both parts of the sentence. So for example, I can say, when I need a break, I drink a cup of coffee, or I have a snack, or actually usually both. I have a cup of coffee and a snack, or maybe I take a walk. So you try it. Let's talk. Pause the video and tell me, what do you do when you need a break? Let's use the present simple tense to describe what you do when you have free time. It's kind of similar to having a break, but this is more of a question about your hobbies. So when I have free time, I like to read. When I have free time, I also like to just relax. Now that I have a baby at home, I don't get that much time to relax. So I really like to read, and I sew. I make clothes and things like that. And I like to cook. So what do you like to do when you have free time? Use the present simple tense. That's it for today's lesson. So remember to keep practicing. Talk to yourself, talk to your pets, talk to your friends. Just keep practicing. And hopefully I'll see you back next week for English class number 3.